Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thompson. Is the applicant available?
Good evening, Jason Branstetter, Titman Group. We're the design builder of the project. I have a number of individuals with me tonight representing the project. Mr. Darrell Freud, Mr. Bill Medley are both with Pinnacle Foods, and we have Jason Apple and Taylor Meharg with ESI, who are the civil engineering group for the project. I'm going to turn over to Darrell. He's going to explain a little bit about the project to you. Thanks.
Darrell Froud, Pinnacle Foods. This project is requesting permission to build 164,000 square feet warehouse facility there on site. This project fulfills three basic tenets, I think, of Pinnacle Foods, and would like to explain those real brief. Number one is safety. This will pull existing traffic off of the infrastructure there in that area. Today, Pinnacle Foods produces components, ships them off-site to store them, then we bring them back. So by building this storage facility, we'll be able to hold it in-house, tremendously reduce our truck traffic in that area. As we know, that whole area is congested around the four-way stop near Baum Stadium, the railroad track, and Pinnacle Foods. As you can see on the existing maps later, this will route that traffic a little further distance away from that intersection. Number two, part of our components are environmental sustainability. This will help in that area as far as reducing emissions by the continued truck traffic around in that area. And three, one of the three components is economic viability. This will help add jobs, add economic growth here in Fayetteville, which we're all, fully engaged in. The city of Fayetteville has been a key partner with Pinnacle Foods over the years. We all have ties within Pinnacle Foods, and we'd like to, continue that long-term partnership with the city of Fayetteville. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
I have a couple additional comments, just so that the Planning Commission knows. Also as part of this, Pinnacle Foods is dedicating 1.8 acres of their property as a preservation area. It's right by the bike path that goes through their property and adjacent to a wetland conservation area that is adjacent to their property. So I didn't see that in the staff notes. The only other item that I believe we need to discuss is number 5. It talks about the closure of curb cuts along 15th Street. I think there's a total, if we could bring up the drawing there. There's a total of 5 that are mentioned for curb cuts. Obviously, the new truck drive is a very important part. It definitely increases the safety of the site. We're closing 4 curb cuts along that area for that one new curb cut. All truck traffic will be in and out of that area. However, the 5th one is down to the west side here, where you have entrance to the employee parking lot, and then right adjacent to it to the right is actually emergency access to the site. So I don't think we made that very clear in some previous meetings. Mr. Bill Medley is here with Pinnacle. He's in charge of their environmental and safety procedures for the site. As you may be aware of, this site contains a large amount of ammonia for refrigeration. Because of that, there are very strict compliance standards that they need to meet, and some of that is direct access to site where individuals can go directly in the building, suit up in case there is an event. This is actually part of that. If you go out to the site, there's big signs, emergency access only. So Pinnacle's request would be to allow that to stay open. It's very important to them. They feel that going in and out of the employee access is not a direct enough for that type of safety that's needed on the site. If you have any other questions, we have individuals here. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, sir. Do we have any public comment on this issue? Mr. Shepherd?
Aubrey Shepherd again. I live less than 3 blocks from Pinnacle Foods property, and we've had some great years there. And tonight, you can see all these things on the board up here, but I want to show you a little slideshow if we can get them on here, and show you what makes it such a wonderful place. And I'll talk about it as we go, if you can get it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, do you want us to try to find his slides, or do you want to just?
It's something I really hope to share.
Okay.
It'll
You
take
can
less than 5 minutes.
Find them rather quickly, yeah.
Anyway, some of the things that we're most concerned about are the proposal to build a pond out there. And that pond is uphill from our neighborhood, but water would be captured there. And that could be a good thing, except that we know that ponds fill up, especially in a time such as we have now. We have rain, we never know when we'll have lots of it. It overflows, it floods downstream from there. I've talked about that many times in this room. And so these are some of the wildflowers that grow out there, if you get to look at it. I want you to see why it's such a precious area that I've been out there all during the summers for several years and taking photos. And these are just a few things that are actually growing in the ground where that proposed pond would go. So what I'm suggesting is perforated pipe. Instead of digging out more precious absorbent soil in order to hold water on that property, put out perforated pipe across the top edge, of most maps I look at from my side, it's the west side. The railroad goes by. And perforated pipe across there would allow all that absorbent soil to continue not only to produce these beautiful flowers and many other species that are out there, but will also allow the water to not rush down and rapidly flood the property on South Duncan Avenue and even property across the street. There are houses that are so low that over the years they've been flooded downstream between the university and the main town branch as it goes south from there, or goes southeast. Anyhow, this is a request that I have, and I think that if it could be considered, if they could have time enough to consider that perforated pipe, which is readily available. You can find it on the internet, and a lot of these guys have already worked with it, I'm sure. And you could avoid doing some of the things that are not safe for people who live downstream. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. I just want to comment on a couple things. There is a pond on the site that is being developed per city requirements. It will be a dry pond. However, the flow of the water and the flow off-site does remain the same. We have not altered that, so it will still continue to flow its natural path to actually the wetland prairie to the northeast and stuff. And we're even using that same control point, so it's only on site where we're detaining some water per city standards.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Lauren Hawkins, and I also reside close to this and am familiar with what we refer to as Pinnacle Prairie. Pinnacle has been wonderful to work with in reducing their mowing schedule in order for the many of them are rare plants, wild plants present on this property. The soil in this area is quite unique. It is spongy. It is, and that allows the water to absorb rather quickly. Any bit of that soil that is removed and replaced is a detriment to the area. And if at all possible, not only saving all of the soil possible, I would relooking at the pond containment and possibly pervious parking surface. I'm hoping that that is getting to be used more and more now. This, it's a pretty quick shot from this area to the creek that goes into Town Branch. And I appreciate staff working with the project to work on those issues. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Any other public comment?
Hello, Emily Brickman. This is not a project that I was intending to speak about, but wondering about the implications for safety and health of the surrounding community with the expansion of the facility. The company earlier spoke about the health and safety plan that's currently in place. Will that health and safety plan address or be expanded to include the larger footprint? And if something were to happen, would the surrounding community be impacted by some sort of occurrence? And then also my second question would be, with the additional expansion area, would there be increased air quality emissions? And has that been thought about and taken into account?
Applicant, care to comment on those questions?
Good evening. I'm Bill Medley, the Senior Environmental Health and Safety Manager for that facility. I've been there 9 years to address the concerns. Actually, there will not be an increase in any refrigerant that falls right in with our permitted levels. We do our very best to maintain a minimum amount to do the job safely, and that will be a non-issue for us. Two, and I think it's very important to understand that Pinnacle Foods takes that responsibility very seriously with regards to the safety for anhydrous ammonia use. That's one of the reasons for the driveway conversation. We have a state certified hazardous materials team on site that is equipped and trained better than even the Fayetteville City Fire Department. So we're on site. We're capable of dealing with our issues and keeping those to a minimum. We haven't had a major issue on site in a number of years. And and as far as our continual growth and the maintenance of our equipment, it's fairly top-notch. All of our people that take care of that equipment, those technicians are highly trained, sent off-site, and they're trained better than anybody else in the city of Fayetteville, I can assure you. But, and we also just the maintenance of the equipment overall. So with regards to the air quality issues, we've actually over the last 9 years have worked to the point where we've actually been taken out of any air quality standards by the state of Arkansas. We no longer have an air permit because we don't meet the standard anymore. Pinnacle is very progressive with regards to making sure that we have a minimal impact on the environment, including the wetlands. I think Mr. Aubrey would be very quick to tell you that over the 9 years, we've spent a lot of time working on that area down there and maintaining it and trying to do our very best to improve it. So I think it's a very valid point from the community. Most people don't know we have that kind of refrigeration there. And by its own testament, by the fact that people don't know it's there is a testament to the way we are good stewards of that ammonia. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Medley. Any other comments? Okay, we'll close the floor to the public and bring back before the commission.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Brown.
let me just clear up this one point. Could I ask a question of engineering staff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. I was wondering, when you were reviewing the designs of this, was there some discussion about an alternative approach to dealing with drainage, looking at the perforated pipe versus the building of a pond, a drainage pond or a holding pond? Is that something that could be, if it hasn't been looked at yet, is it something that could be explored and without affecting the completion of the project to see if it had some viability?
There's not been a discussion so far between myself or the design engineer. I do